How would it feel to have a thriving fitness business and have the freedom to enjoy life at the fullest? Well, that is exactly what the Trainer Revenue Multiplier Show is going to give you. My name is Mathew Park. This is Jaime Filer.
Hey guys.
And we are here to serve. Hello, everybody. Jaime Filer, my co-host, my powerhouse, the TRM Mentor Filer Turbo herself. How are you doing today, Jaime?
Oh my gosh, I'm doing so well. It's a beautiful day outside in Florida. It's like 75 degrees, and I am so fired up after our group coaching call.
That quote behind your shoulder right there is like moments of genius. That is
Right?
what a great thing for the podcast.
Manifesting everything around me right now. Yes.
Well, you sure are mastering the basics, aren't you? The mastering the business basics, aren't you?
I mean, you have to, right? There's no getting around it.
So the group coaching call in TRM was honestly fire today. Would you agree?
I would agree. Yep.
Lots of good stuff happening. And it's warm in Florida. It's not warm in Montreal, but I'm trying to, visualize warmth around me now that you're on the call with me, which is good. So we'll just start there.
That sounds perfect.
So our wonderful topic today, Jaime, mastering the business basics in the fitness coaching business. It's one of those topics that you've been in TRM now for 4 years. I've known you for almost 6 years. You built your business from whatever it was now to where it's like an empire now. You got your wife now full time, and you built it really on the basics of your business. Like you built on kind of mastering them, math over and over again. So actually, I'd love to sort of hear your definition of what you believe the basics are for a business. I know it's kind of like a big loaded question, but what's your definition of that concept?
I think the most basic is, and this is going to sound so cliche, but guys, stick with me, is you have to figure out your why. And your why can't change as you grow, because then you're going to have to keep starting from ground zero, because what you're chasing is going to be different. So my why has always been impact over income and service. It's why when I started, I was only charging $75 a month because I didn't care about the money. I mean, to an extent, I still don't. Now money is just a vehicle to do other things and gain freedom, but I still don't care about money. I care about impacting clients. And now I want more of them. And then, the basics of systems and growth and optimization change, but the why should never change. So your basics should be, how come you got into this industry in the first place?
I like that. It's really, really good. So nothing tactical. It's more about the actual emotional pull for you. That was kind of the main thing for you, eh?
Yes. Yeah. Because the tactical will change, right? Every level has another devil. So we can also talk about the basics of 0 to 10, 10 to 25, 25K and above. You let me know which direction you would like to go in.
For sure, 100%. I think the big thing is that, when we're entrepreneurs, of course, whether you're looking at from 0 to 10, 10 to 20, and 25 above, right? It's obviously per month, by the way, guys, so you guys know, not per year. So with that is that, it's like we get these ideas, whether it's obviously ideas from seeing a social media post, whether it's going to be here from somebody else online. And, of course, now we've coached a lot of coaches over the years, in TRM, and there's many more coming to us over the years. There comes down to what those fundamentals are that we do, whether you're starting a business or whether you've been doing this for 20 years, that really are the basics that are required for you to keep succeeding and winning and growing. And you nailed one there, Jaime, which obviously is massive, that why factor, which is huge, almost like your why, your vision, your reason for what you've got this thing in the first place for,
Yeah.
So I'd love to kind of start there, and I'll almost go over, whether you're the beginner coach, whether you've been coaching for 10 or 15 years, or 30 years, what are those basic things that really are important for you to keep in mind, that are even the ones we talk on TRM, or different ones that are essential to keep doing over and over again to succeed?
Yeah. Okay. So I think, and credit goes to Alex Hermosi for this one, because he has stages of business development, and another way of saying that is basics. And the basic of where you're at relative to your stage in business is going to be one of the following. And obviously, please scale these numbers appropriately relative to where you're at in your business. But he essentially says from 0 to 100,000 per year, what you got to leverage is your product. The basic is having a good product or service in our case, right? Because what we're selling isn't necessarily tangible. If you are an in-person trainer with poor bedside manner, you don't have a good product. If you have a 1,200 calorie diet program and a lot of high intensity intervals and plyometrics, you do not have a good product, right? If people complain about your customer service, you do not have a good product. So the basic to master is essentially what you're selling. Mathew, how does that sound? Is that a good start?
I love it because it goes down to really the core offer and the product, right? We talk about TRM. The core offer is the heartbeat of your business, right?
Yep.
So whether
Yep.
you're doing your first client or you're doing your 100th client or your
Yeah.
1,000th client, you're exactly right. And that's so cool you mentioned Alex, because Alex built his empire on the basics, literally. Like he always goes back to the basics, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
And in TRM, we always coach, literally the offer is always the first start. It's perfect.
Yep. Yep. So make sure that what you're offering is congruent with what you're charging, of course. And the more you charge, the better your offer should be, right? The more value and deliverables you should be offering. And then from 100 to about 500K per year, and again, please scale accordingly. Now we're looking, the basics are people. Who, not how. Who are you adding to your team? Is it an assistant coach? Is it an executive assistant for you? Is it a virtual assistant? Is it another trainer? Is it a manager for your gym, right? Who are you leveraging in order to make more money? Mathew, I mean, you said, you got to the point where your wife quit her job. My wife is now my assistant coach, and we're bringing in that much more money because I no longer have a cap on who I can take on, because if I don't have space, they go to Katie. And I know that my product is good, right? Like we're always building. It's not like we've officially forgotten about quality of service just because I took on another person. No, the quality just keeps getting better and better. And I've taken on another person.
I love that. I love that. People. I love that. I'm going to add in their systems.
Yeah.
With that part as well, because obviously, when we add in our VA, we add in our part-time coach, we add in our wife, or our husband or whoever it might be, having things and systems that allow us to, take care of that process, whether it's going to be the system, of course, is the VA off the start, and then it kind of builds into a full-time in-person VA or the first-time coach. Those, of course, will kind of help complement that as well. So like you mentioned, you're bang on, is that, so you bring on your first hire, in that $100,000 to $500,000 range. And Jamie's exactly correct, with things that, of course, support systems to support that coach or the whole business. That's really the next basic to keep in line for you, because now you got your offer.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that a lot of coaches, I think, get stuck on, and feel free to, of course, expand here if you want to, is they always start with thinking they have to have all these offers. They have as many offers as you can, like have one for this and for this. And I'm like, no, that actually is backwards. Even as you grow to a, mid 6-figure, or say you want to go to a 7-figure or whatever number you're going to, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It comes down to the basic offers. And if you do the basic offers really, really well and make them better in Ninja, as Alvin always talks, making them Ninja as you grow, those offers can expand in price point.
Yes.
And they can also become a better product or service, right? That one you just had in the very beginning can become more expanded with a higher price point.
So I think that speaks to where you're right. Well, again, the basics of your offer at when you start are not going to be the same basics. I know that sounds weird, as when you're making $100,000 a month.
Exactly.
Your offer has to change. Also, when you go from making 1,500 to 15,000, your people are going to change. And then your systems, right? I just taught on Tuesday all about systems. And there are some people who are super comfortable relative to where they're at in their business with using Google Sheets as a basic for client relationship management. And that's great. And that is the most rudimentary basic. It's free, it's easy, right? But for me, the basic is the TRM engine. And then, right, again, for someone who's making 100,000 per month, there's probably an elevated version of the TRM engine that they could be using. So the basic of product, people, system is going to change throughout the different. I apologize.
That's totally okay. That's
Okay.
the podcast, being human, right?
Right. Throughout the phases of your business. So yes, Mathew, to your point, systems are going to change, offer is going to change, people are going to change.
I love that. I love that. I want to, if I could just add that to the, also saying that it almost like it's like your, say you have, 3 core offers. Say, of course, you've got silver, is it silver, gold, and platinum is your offers?
I no longer have silver.
Oh, silver's done. So you have 2 offers.
I have gold and I have platinum.
See, this is actually a good example. This is a beautiful example because when you first started TRM, you had 3. I think you had like 3. You had silver, gold, and platinum or something like that, right? Yeah. So as Jaime grew her income and her business more and more, she just downsized to making 2 freaking epic offers, you know? But now she has her wife full-time and also probably even a part-time VA as well. So I think as well too. So your income and your business has grown, but you've also simplified and went back to your basics. It became your product and service became better and better and better.
Yeah.
That's a great example. That's awesome.
Because I think once you take on a certain number of clients, you really realize your value. I'm a lot more valuable than $200 a month. That's the truth. But also, the better I got at being a trainer and servicing clients, the more I didn't want to offer something low ticket because people weren't as compliant. Mm-hmm. Because the offer just, it was what it was, right? It was a template plan. It was once a week check-ins instead of 24/7. Yeah. And there was just no point in offering it anymore.
I love that. I love that. That's the evolution of your business. You got better. You went from like good to great, as Jim Collins always says, and now you're becoming even more excelled. So, but I think guys, when you're on this call thinking to yourself, like, what are these basics in your business? It's really not overcomplicating it. Jaime mentioned about product and service and systems, right? So you got these 3 main things, and product ultimately is your offer. It's your offer and your product. It's the same kind of thing. Yeah. And then of course, systems, of course, whether you're by yourself as a solo coach or you have a part-time VA or you have a part-time or full-time coach or coach as, it really just comes into that middle piece and just keeping it simple and basic, because business ultimately is boring when it becomes more successful, Yeah. And, we almost want to complicate and add in 5 new things, but that's where we have to, have someone like a mentor or coach like you, Jaime, or myself, or someone on the TRM helping us, guide us, like, guys, focus on the few basics here. Let's get really ninja on these babies and then build off of them to scale.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a good question, and Mathew, this is one for me to ask you about is, how do you know when you've graduated from the basic?
That's a very good point. That's a good point. So I think the graduation of the basic is when either you have somebody else either helping you do that basic, for example, metric and numbers, right? Usually when you first do numbers, usually it's also making it a habit for yourself to do yourself and knowing your numbers. So if you're saying I know my numbers, but you have no clue how many consults came in, how many you closed, and how many you're actually converting into retaining, you don't know your numbers. Let's face it. So you got to like master the basics first, and maybe have somebody helping you input the information into a document that you actually can know the numbers more better. So mastering becomes also, it's more like optimizing the process, right? So systems, which I have to get better at as we're growing TRM as well too. Like we all get better at systems, is that we need to look at, again, the TRM engine or whatever we're using in their Google Sheets and look at what is the optimal, line from point A to point D that's going to make it, the best way possible, and then have it as simple as possible. That's the most important part. Yeah. Actually, Olga told me this one time. She says, Mathew, I had a mentor that was a billionaire. He was coaching me, and he said, okay, here's your product. Okay, make it easier. Make it more simple yet. She came back, did it one more time. Oh, no, make it even more simple than that.
Yeah.
And then she went back 5 times and kept simplifying and making it easier and easier. And I was like, intriguing. So it all went back into business actually is really about just the few things that make it very, very good. So I think mastering them becomes into optimizing and making it even easier to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that answer.
What will be your take?
I would say, honestly, when people start complaining.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. When people start complaining, okay, when they complain about your product, you got to figure it out. You got to elevate it, right? When they complain, coach, the reason I wasn't successful is because we only had once a week check-ins, which meant that I could mess around the other 6 days of the week. Okay, it's time for me to go beyond the basic. If they're like, hey, coach, you gave me a plan with someone else's name on it. Now it's time to hire an assistant coach because you've taken on too many people. If you start to lose track of your payments and you have no idea when so-and-so is due for renewal and this and that, it's time to elevate from the basic of systems, right? So to me, again, it's complaining. When people are not happy, go do it better.
I like that. So maybe almost like either complaining or even the issues that are happening in the business. If there's issues happening with the business, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We address issues.
Problems. Yeah. Take a look at the problems you're having. And it might be because you're too good and you're past the basics. And now we got to maybe spend a little bit more on systems, on employees, on product development.
Ooh, I like that. Which could then relate to marketing, right? For business basics. So, a good point, obviously, and kind of going off of that, Jaime, is that, if you're a coach and you have a good online following that has thousands of followers, probably, not as many as Jaime obviously has, but say you've got followers and you're gaining a lot of traction, but you aren't either converting them, you aren't closing them, or they aren't the ideal leads. That means you probably haven't mastered or simplified the basics around either attracting or bringing them through the right kind of funnel or application process properly.
Yep.
So it's an issue. Got to fix it.
Yeah. The other basic when it comes to marketing is organic traffic. It's word of mouth. It's social media. It's podcasts, referrals. And then, of course, I don't believe you could ever max out organic traffic. I mean, Mathew knows I've been banned from making Facebook ads since 2019. So which means I also can't make an Instagram ad. So I've never paid for traffic in the 4 years that we've worked together. So if I can make what I'm making in 4 years of pure organic traffic, you don't have to worry about it. But again, that's a basic. And when you're ready to elevate, we go into paid traffic. So paid shout outs, Instagram ads, Facebook ads, TikTok ads, etc.
But I think what's also kind of important with your angle too, Jaime, is I've noticed how much going back to the business basics, of course, how much you've really, even to this day, to this like very week, or even this, you go deeper into your audience. Like your audience, you've really built authority in your audience, and you continue to keep building on the authority on your LTB, community audience. And that's so ninja, right? That's the basics going to the next level. You're always networking. You're always trying to build collaborations. You did one last week with one of the TRM Pocket, one of your collaborators. Right. So that is the basics done very, very well.
Yeah. Thank you. And again, it comes as a function of necessity. I mean, my business model might look completely different had I launched a Facebook ad in 2019. Maybe I would go the route of everyone gets a low ticket offer because I just have insane quantity of people.
Yeah.
But I can't do that. So now I focus on quality, and I obviously I just don't take on as many.
Exactly. So if you go and look at Jamie's Instagram, Jaime91 for a second, and actually look at her actual bio, right? So go back to the basics, right? Her bio doesn't say she has 4 degrees. She's got 14 years of training experience. And she trains everybody on losing body fat and building muscle.
Yep.
This is a very important point, because this is where you go from like good to great to like exceptional. Because if you go to her bio, she's literally, it's so nailed to her audience that literally that's where the basics become exceptional. Because now the ones that actually contact her or talk to her in her DMs or opt in for a call with her, it's the most times probably, Jaime, the ideal client, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Because the way you've built the basics around.
That could be another, not that we haven't given you guys enough information, but a basic is knowing who you're talking to.
That's it.
Basic is your audience. Because again, you could have perfected the basic offer and product, but who's it for?
Yeah.
That's a basic.
So exactly, Jaime. And now with an age at social media and online marketing, that's like since the pandemic has exploded. You could put probably 15 years ago, you probably could put in your bio. There wasn't Instagram back in the day, but basically that. But say back in the day, you could say like, I want to help you build muscle, but that was back in the day. Right. Nowadays, you need to be so ninja. And that's where you can soar. But like Jaime said, guys, knowing who you serve, that's a marketing tactic, right? And then from knowing who you serve, go back to TRM, gold, the content pillars,
Mhm.
the marketing message, the language, the pain points, the solutions, all basics. But if we know them really, really good and keep going and refining them, this is where you're going to keep elevating.
Yeah. Yep.
And then there was silence.
Yeah. After that, that was really good. How should we, if we were to come up with like one takeaway for both beginner coaches looking to start on the basics and then advanced coaches who might need to go back to basics, what would you tell them?
Good question, Jaime. So we'll start with the. I'll go advanced, and then we'll go kind of backwards. So I think advanced is we need to look at marketing and look at the prongs of marketing for them. So knowing, of course, are you targeting the right clients as an advanced coach?
Yeah.
Do you know the language to be using to get more of those clients, and are you actually using it?
Yeah.
And also, are your marketing funnels and opt-in pages all aligning to that ideal client? From a sales process, are you speaking and to those people properly? And is actually your sales process, again, whatever you're generating for as even a lead magnet is concerned, is it again aligned to the market you're trying to serve?
Yep.
Is system set up? Just basic onboarding, like onboarding a client. Is that done right? Because I've seen advanced who do a lot of money, but their onboarding is completely garbage.
Yeah.
It's still tons and tons of work. So onboarding.
Yeah.
Even client management, database management, those kind of things as well, and also people. So this is obviously that's a big question, Jaime. So I think I'll kind of leave it there I'll let you share your thoughts on more of the different angle on that.
I couldn't agree more with you regarding the advanced coach. I think you nailed what basics they need to go back to: marketing message, and systems. And then for the beginner coach, essentially the other two, is your product great? And are the people on your team of the same vision and mission that you are? Are you guys all aligned? Because if you don't have a good team, you're going to keep hitting a ceiling.
I think one we also can add, Jaime, for either the advanced or the beginner is the offer going into, do you have too many offers?
Right. Yes, of course.
So if you're an advanced coach, you got 7 offers. Do you need 7 offers, or could you scale it back to maybe 4 or 5 or 3?
Yeah. Yep. You're right.
So like probably the offer side of things. And, even the angle of like, you go back to your why, why, you've been doing coaching for many, many years. So you mentioned why the first thing.
Yeah.
So if you're an advanced coach or beginner coach, do you know your why?
I love it. Yes.
Anything you want to share? Anything, Jaime, I guess we'll go back before we kind of end. One question I want to ask you is, you've been coaching for 14 years in general, 13 years in general?
No, it'll be 18 years this year.
18 years of coaching, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, this is amazing. So I know it's a long way still. It's a big question to ask going back 18 years. But when you think of the basics on what you thought the basics would have been, over a decade ago to what they are now, what do you see as that? What's your perspective of business now on the basics compared to what it was back in the day, do you think?
Wow. Oh my gosh. I wish you had prepped me.
I know.
That's a lot. I think I misunderstood the basics of I had to be really flashy. Yeah. I thought, of course, my product had to be fantastic, but I forgot that people buy coaches, not coaching. And I was trying to add too many things and deliver too much when really it just came down to knowing my audience and being a good person. And so I kind of leapfrogged over self-awareness and went straight to problem awareness. So yeah, I had to just improve my own confidence and my ability to serve and not worry so much about what I was serving.
That's a very good point. Oh my gosh. That's very good, Jaime. Okay. I'll share my thoughts on if I could for a second, actually. And this actually comes from Dan Sullivan, not from me, by the way. And actually came from a quote he shared this week. I read over, basically simplify to multiply. And if I go back 10 or 15 years ago, I was always about doing so many darn things. Like you talked about that, doing everything, having lots of things in business, having just trying to do everything at once and trying to make things, you mentioned flashy, right? Whatever you want to call that. And I think that I've realized now that I've matured over the years that simplification is the key to success in your business. And it is boring at the end of the day, business itself. So if you can look at what could you trim for the fat to keep building on the muscle and put more of those reps in, you will win.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Perfect. All
That's all
right.
I got, man.
Should we end it there?
That'd be great.
Amazing. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening, for subscribing. Please make sure you rate us, share the show with other trainers who could use this. Mathew, fantastic show as always, my friend.
You were full of nuggets, man. Thanks, champ.
You. Please don't forget to follow us at Trainer Revenue Multiplier on Instagram for even more information. And until next time.
See you guys later. Take care. Thanks, Jamie.